I'm fine. Thank you very much for asking. I know you are sitting at your home right now watching this video and asking me how I'm doing. Cool, let's get to it. What topic are we speaking about today? Okay, so my mic is placed right there. So I need to try and not move my feet as much as I can. The main topic that I wanted to touch on today would be white privilege. Let's take it in. Okay, so let's talk about white privilege. What is white privilege? What is white privilege? Well, today we're about to talk about what white privilege is, breaking it down into small details. I'm gonna break down white privilege, and I'm wanting to really do this video because just because I may see something doesn't mean that others will see it. And I think throughout Black Lives Matter journey, it's been a crazy journey, and there's something that I learned, which I already knew, but this was a confirmation that you think people know, but they really don't know. Like when you think people know, that's when they really don't know. So for me, it was so important to make sure that I speak on this topic and I break down details of what white privilege looks like in our everyday life so that people can get the deepness and really grasp what white privilege, for those who are like, no, I'm not privileged, and for those who don't agree with the term white privilege or don't agree with the concept of it. What is white privilege? White privilege is the invisible privilege that white culture has been able to benefit from for years. This video of white privilege is going to allow us to see, is going to allow white people that don't understand this concept to see their privileges and how it plays within our everyday life, and how the little things that they might not consider as a privilege might be a privilege to them than to somebody else. I'm going to give an example of what white privilege benefits are within our day-to-day life. There's 5 bullet points, but I'm going to break down each one of them in terms of privileges that white people have in day-to-day life that they might not see or consider as a privilege. The concept of white privilege does not mean that there isn't white people in our society, in our community, who are suffering, who are in bad places, in bad conditions. White privilege doesn't mean that each individual white person is rich and their family is perfect. White privilege just means that even the white people who are poor, they still have a privilege that the black people don't have. So if you have one community of poor white people, a community of poor black people, the white people still have more privileges on their day-to-day life than the black community would have. But this doesn't mean that the white community isn't suffering. This doesn't mean that the white community is in a better place than the black community. No, they could be facing the same issue, but they will still have little things in their life that will still allow them to go through life in a slightly easier way than it would allow the black people. So I just wanted to put in perspective of anybody that's white watching this, it's easy to feel offended, it's easy to feel anger, it's easy to feel annoyed, and it's easy to defend yourself when you feel like you've went through your own pain in your life and there is people telling you, you have white privilege. Don't look at that and say, we're saying that you didn't go through the pain you went through. No, we're saying we see your pain. We know you went through that. And now we just want you to see our pain and see what we go through. But for you to see that, I have to tell you the things that you have easier than I do, which makes your white privilege. Breaking down definite structure of white privileges in our day-to-day life. So I want to start with education. The privileges that white people have in the education system is that they get the opportunity to hear their history in a positive way. Black students don't always get the opportunity to hear something positive about their history. So that's a privilege that white people have in education that black people don't have in education. In education, most people that you have seen in schools, teachers are all white. So white people have the privilege to always see somebody that looks like them in the position of power, while black people don't have that opportunity. Public transport. The white privilege that white people have in public transport is that they can walk into a bus, a train, whatever public transport they're using, a taxi, and don't have to worry about whether the person is going to give them a negative vibe. And if they do, it's because of just who they are as a person. Well, most black people have to worry about getting a negative vibe, getting a negative vibe from a bus, a train, and a taxi as well. People don't have to walk into a bus and be made to feel uncomfortable when they sit next to somebody because of their skin color. A white person can sit on a bus and they're more likely to get somebody sitting next to them than a black person. Businesses. The white privilege that we have in businesses, when you say businesses, there's so many different aspects of business. So the white privilege we have in businesses is, again, there's way more white people sitting in higher position in businesses than there are with black people. So white people always have the opportunity to always have somebody that they can relate to in position of power within business. There is so many white-owned business than there is black-owned business. So again, it's harder for a black person to start a business what it is for a white person to start a business. You get questioned a lot more when you're black starting a business. My mom is a childminder, and when she started, it was very hard for her to be considered a childminder. It's very hard for her to get her qualification as a childminder. And every time, and when she did become a childminder, they would check on her all the time, almost like doubting that she was going to get something wrong. So it's always tricky for black people to really feel comfortable in businesses without always being questioned or looked at in a certain way. And when you are settled within your business, they look at you like, oh wow, you're not black anymore. You're not one of them. You're one of us now. Media. My God, we can talk about media all day. So in media, you get movies. Most black movies that you have seen of black men and black women has been negative. It's been black women portrayed as crazy, ghetto, loud, always angry, and black men are always portrayed as drug dealers, gangsters, you know. So a lot of media and the image that media shows for black people is a lot of it really negative. And then when you get an educated black man in media, an educated black woman, they're like, oh, you studied, right? Like, how come you're so different from them? You know, no, they're one of us. Like, we are talented as they are. You just don't want to see that in us. And it's harder for a black person to have a platform in the media. It's so hard for a black person to have a main platform in the media. I know, for example, Oprah had to fight for her position to have her show running in the media like that. She probably went through so many, God knows the struggle she went through to get to the position that she is right now. So media portrays us in such a negative light, and everybody's watching it. And when they portray us in a good way, it's always with like dance or music. It's like, oh yeah, let's watch the cool dance movie with the black people, and then let's watch the cool movie with the black people and where they get to dance and sing. So it just portrays us like, oh, all they can do is dance and sing. Well, there's black lawyers, there's black doctors, and they don't always get to be shown or showcased to the world. It's like they get to be hidden. Hide them, don't show them, so the world can see that they're not capable of doing that. This is an interesting one because this might not seem like a privilege. All of them might not seem like a privilege to white people, but this is a big privilege. It's so hard to find products on stores that work for black skin. Like for example, shaving products. It's very hard for black women to use the shaving products because it's not made for our skin. Our skin is just very sensitive for our skin, and even when you get a sensitive skin, that still doesn't really always work. Even shampoo, when you think about shampoo products are not made for our hair texture. It's made for white people hair texture. So we're always having to buy things that are made more for white people than it is made for black people. Clothes, like in store, like even when you think about that, retail stores, like most clothes are made with a thought process of a white person is made for a black person, because you see it. Mannequins in stores are more white women body shapes than they are black women body shapes. So we need to have more mannequins on stores that are actually black body shapes. Because not all, like black girls' body shape is completely different from white girls' body shapes. And don't get me wrong, this is not a thing of this looks better or not. It's just we're different, you know. Our body is structured different because we eat different food. Hospital. When you think of hospital, black women are more likely to be in danger while giving birth than white women. And even that, there hasn't been a proper solution for the hospital. So again, the hospital are designed to cater more to white than it is designed to cater to black. Now guys, that was just a quick example of the small privileges that white people have every day, from education that white people have every day that they may not see. So for example, you could be a poor white person that goes to school. You still have the privilege to see another you in a position where you may dream of being one day. You still be a poor white person and you get a public transport or any transport. You don't have to worry people looking at you because of your skin color. Nobody wanted to sit next to you. You might be a poor white person, and if you want to start business, you're more likely to have easier access to being a successful business than it is for a black person to have. You might be a poor white person, but you can still turn on your TV and see that your culture as white people are moving higher than any other culture. So you still have a greater example on the television that you watch, which is TV, your phone, tablet, computers, any platform of media that you have. There's always a better example for you than it is for us. But you might still be a poor white person. You might still be a poor white person and still go to the store and all the products is made to cater to you than it is made to cater to me. You might be a poor white female or male, but if you go to the hospital, you will be treated better and catered to a little bit more than I will be catered to. So those are just little privileges that white people have on the day-to-day life that I really wanted to point out, from education to public transport to businesses to media to stores and to hospital. These are the things that run our world, you know. You go to school, it's still catered to you. You are using public transport in our world and it's still catered to you. You want to build a business, it's still more catered to you. Media is still catered to you than it is catered to me. Stores, their products are more catered to you than they are catered to me. Hospital is still more catered to you than it is catered to me. Now, some white people might say, yes, but I'm still poor. All these things are catered to me, but it doesn't mean that I won't be poor. No, it doesn't mean that. But at the same time, your child can still have a better chance to having a better future than our child would. A white person's child still has a better chance to having a better future than a black child. They will cater more to the white person to make sure that they're showing her history and how great they are, and they're showing the black child how bad they are. Your white child can take a public transport and be okay and not have to worry about calculating who to sit next to because in case they are racist to them. Who doesn't want to sit next to them because of their skin color? Your poor white child can still turn on TV and see positive of her people. More positive than she would see of negative. Your white child can go to the store to buy products and everything is laid there waiting. Personally created for her skin tone, while the black child doesn't have that opportunity. White privilege is the little things that we do not consider as a big deal. But we have to remember, the little things make the big things. The little things that we don't consider as a big deal are the things that become a big deal. So you might not see as a big deal that you can work on stores and all the products are specially created for your skin color. You might not see that as a big deal because if you're still suffering, you're still suffering. But at least in that moment, in that time then, your suffering is different from my suffering. In that moment, right there, you get to pick, you don't get to worry about whether you should go to another store and look for a shampoo that you might think might be better for your hair. And if you do, it's just because you want to buy it from a different company. You get to have privilege where you get to walk in any area without them questioning you. A poor white person can walk into a rich area. People might look, they might not, whatever. A black person walks into a rich area, whether they're poor or whether they're poor or rich, they get looked at. Somebody might even call the police because they might think they're lost. A white person going from poor to rich is not an issue. A black person going from poor to rich is an issue. What did they do to get there? Anyways, guys, thank you so much. I hope this video educated us. I hope that we can grow from this. And I hope that for white people, you get to sit back and analyze the privilege that you do have. And see within your power, with your privileges, what can you do to help? You're also helping the future of your kids. Thank you.